An interesting video on TikTok. As you can see by the caption, this guy makes the claim that children are not supposed to be grateful for things parents are supposed to do. And I think it's an interesting claim. I also screenshotted some comments that I wanted to address, but let's address the main claim of the video. And in my opinion, I would disagree. I would disagree with it in the way that it is stated. I understand what he's trying to say, but I don't think that this is stated correctly. Right? Children are not supposed to be grateful for things parents are supposed to do. I disagree completely with that. Children should be grateful. Yes, I agree that it is a parent's obligation, without any doubt, to put a roof over their child's head, to clothe them, to give them food and water. And these things are things that every parent should provide. And a parent should not hold these things over their child, right? Ultimately, a parent chooses to have a child. And so it obviously naturally falls on the parent to take care of the child. Now, that being said, you should still be grateful for the fact that your parents are providing these things. You should be grateful for what you have, period. No questions asked. You should be grateful for what you have and what is being provided to you, right? Not all parents are able to provide a roof over their child's head, over their own heads, food, water, clothing, these basic things that we take for granted, not all parents are able to provide. So for that sheer fact, we should be grateful for the things that our parents provide to us. Just sort of in a general sense, right? We should be grateful that we have the things that we have. Point blank, period. We should be grateful, right? Yes, it is a parent's duty to provide these things to their child, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be grateful. That doesn't mean we shouldn't say thank you, right? I see the first comment they are supposed to respect it, though. And I agree very much, right? That's what I would say. You should certainly respect the sacrifices that your parents make for you. Yes, your parents choose to bring you into the world, but they still make sacrifices for you, right? Every single day. And you should be grateful for that. I don't think it's crazy to say you should be grateful for the sacrifices that your parents make for you, even though your parents willingly take on those sacrifices by choosing to have you. You should still be grateful, right? Two things can be true at once. Just because your parents willingly take on the sacrifice doesn't mean we're like, oh, well, I don't give a damn. No, we should be grateful, period, right? And again, people have parents who are unable to provide them with these things. All the more reason to be grateful, right? I completely disagree with the second comment. Children don't owe their parents anything. I completely disagree. I'm so tired of people acting like we just live completely independent of each other, right? This idea that I don't owe anyone anything and I'm just out here, I'm just, I'm a lone wolf or whatever. I disagree. First of all, I think we need to change the idea, right? The idea of owing your parents something, right? And really, when we talk about children owing their parents something, we're usually talking about when our parents get old, right? Taking care of them, and people are like, oh, well, I don't owe my parents anything. I'm just going to throw them in a nursing home. And this is certainly a cultural thing, right? This is certainly a cultural thing, right? Culture that I come from, right? It's certainly not acceptable just to completely, abandon your parents when they get old, just leave them on their own. Completely unacceptable, and it should be unacceptable. I think as well, however, the way you were raised up, how your parents treated you is going to play a role. If you have really abusive parents, or if you had really abusive parents growing up, you're obviously going to be a lot more reluctant, right, to take care of them when they grow old and whatever. So your situation is your situation. But in a general sense, if you had a good upbringing with good parents, I would certainly say that you should be there for them when they grow old. Just as they were there for you when they grew young, just as they were there for you when you were younger. And yes, it was their duty to be there. But at the end of the day, not everything has to be a transaction. Not everything has to be, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. We love our parents. We appreciate what they do for us. Shouldn't we be there when they grow older? Shouldn't we be there to take care of them or to provide for them, whatever it may be, right? Is it crazy to say that a child should take care of their parent to some extent when they grow older? This idea that a child doesn't owe their parent anything, or we should just leave our parents when they grow old or whatever. I completely disagree. I think it's ridiculous to say that. If you had good parents, right? If you had good parents at least, I think that's ridiculous to say. Seriously. The idea that you don't owe your parents, maybe it's not a question of owing, but as a person that you love, right? Not everything we do has to be purely transactional, right? Some things we do out of love for others, right? Simple as that. When your parents maybe take you somewhere far away so you can go hang out with your friend, they're doing that out of love, right? They don't have to do that, right? And so, in the same way as they grow older, right? I'm sure you could just put them in a nursing home and leave them on their own. But out of the love that we have for them, we go above and beyond. And so not everything is purely transactional. Not everything is about, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. No, some things we do out of love for other people. And if your parents treated you well and you had a good upbringing, you ought to love them and you ought to care about them and you ought to be with them when they grow older. The third comment, I fed, bathed, put a roof over your head. You would have been charged if you didn't. I mean, I guess this is just sort of, the idea, I guess, of that comment is to say, there's nothing exceptional about a parent providing basic necessities to their child. And in all honesty, I would agree with that more or less. I certainly don't think that parents should hold providing basic necessities over their child's head. I definitely don't think that it is a parent's duty, undoubtedly, to take care of their child and to provide for them, right? Again, a parent chooses to bring a child into the world, right? Who else would have the responsibility of taking care of the child except the parent? And so I can agree with this comment, right? Or more or less with what the comment is trying to express, right? It is a parent's duty to provide for their child. And it's not necessarily, something, I think it's something, I think it's something that we should be grateful for the good parents out there who do their jobs right, right? We should be grateful for the good parents out there who do their jobs right. And I think they deserve to be commended, right? Even if, it's just viewed as, doing what is expected, I still think that they deserve praise. Good parents. End of story, right? Bottom line, well, all I'm trying to say in this video is that I just think that you should be grateful for the things that your parents provide, even if it is their duty to do so, right? Again, it's just like, let me think, right? You, you're in the store, right? Or you order some food. You order some food and you go to pick it up, right? And you say thank you, right, to the person giving it to you. And obviously, that person is just doing their job. It's their duty to just give the food to you or to hand it to you, but you still go out of your way to say thank you, right? Because you're showing gratitude, you're being respectful. I believe that that's exactly how it should be when it comes to your parents providing for you, right? It is, of course, a parent's duty to provide for their child, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be grateful, and that doesn't mean we shouldn't have gratitude and be respectful, right? And obviously, I'm going to, again, strongly disagree with the second comment when it comes to the idea that children don't owe their parents anything. I'm not sure if it's a question of whether they owe, but I believe that to some extent, children do have an obligation to their parents when they grow older if their parents did a good job, right? I just don't, I just don't like the idea of just abandoning our parents when they grow older or just leaving them sort of out to dry, especially when they're getting older and weaker and it's becoming harder for them. I think, if you truly love your parent, you would feel an obligation from within, to be there for them. It's not really a question of owing or not, because not everything in this planet is about monetary transactional, stuff, right? Some stuff we just do out of love and care for others. And I think caring for your parents when they get old is one of those things. Anyways, thank you for watching this video and I hope you have a good day.